Kiira Motors Corporation, a brainchild of Makerere, is a presidential initiative in Uganda for automotive manufacturing. We have so far built 3 demonstration or concept vehicles: a 2-seater electric vehicle, the Kiira EV, a 5-seater hybrid electric vehicle, the Kiira EV Smart 2014, and of course where we are seated today, the Kayola Solar Bus, which is an electric vehicle with a real-time solar charging system. Our value add is in drumming up very important aspects in 2 areas. One, the opportunities there in the downstream aspects of the automotive value chain, which could cultivate a platform where the youth can apply themselves intellectually, keeping them home, as opposed to having the brain drain that has been characteristic of most of the African nations. And secondly, our commitment to green mobility as the panacea to the issues of climate change, especially in Africa today, where we have unprecedented growth rates. And as we prospect Africa with the industrialization at the heart of the interventions for economic transformation, we need to remind ourselves always that the interventions to satisfy today's needs should not compromise tomorrow's generations to meet their needs and livelihood as well. We are taking what we all have, solar energy, and applying it in a pragmatic way to see how we can prospect the future of urban mobility in Africa. And on the other side, we are reminding people that effort applied rationally and smartly can change lives in real time, and that Africa can stay in Africa and transform Africa. And that perhaps for us is even more important and critical, to remind Africans that they don't have to run away from Africa looking for opportunity. Actually, I changed my name from Paul Isaac Musasizi to Opportunity, to just always remind people that the opportunity is right where we are. We just need to look closer and take some steps in the right direction. We will be joined by other people with a similar mind and similar aspiration, and the opportunity is endless and unbounded. Over a century ago, development was pretty much linear. So men like Lord Ford, Rockefeller would wake up one day and do their thing across the United States and pretty much manage it on their own, running around with a few people, and that was it. Development in the 21st century is a very complex integration of so many actors, and government is a critical actor, and of course along with a number of multinational agencies like the UN, the African Union, the EU, to mention but a few. Their role, especially governments, is in securing the environment within which such developments can thrive on one side, and on the other side, given that the private sector in the emerging markets, typically in Africa, outside South Africa, the private sector is rather small. So there is need for patronage from government to the extent of creating not only incentive packages for entrepreneurs, but also putting in place complex project financing mechanisms to secure the right economies of scope, especially because when you focus so much on how you scale, you may forget on how you scope, and the value is in how you scope. How many jobs do you create is in your economies of scope. On the other side also, government should facilitate the moderation of entrepreneurs so that we do not end up in a rather counterproductive competition and tearing ourselves others apart in courts of law. We have seen some of the cases between the likes of Samsung and Apple and Microsoft, which have kind of drawn the real issue away from the real issue for quite a long time, and sometimes opportunity is lost in something like that. And that's where government can help the private sector in moderating and helping us to keep on track while we are not impairing the other actors' opportunities and their interventions in achieving whatever they have set out to to achieve. So I ultimately believe that government can go a long way in not only facilitating a regulatory environment for sustaining entrepreneurship, but also facilitating entrepreneurs with appropriate financing, project financing mechanisms, as well as providing a key primary market, especially as the entrepreneur goes to market. Because when we talk mobility in Africa, governments in most of the cases are the leading purchasers of vehicles, amongst other things. The shared vision and mission between Climate Action, UNEA, and Kiira Motors is around sustainable development. We are all pursuing sustainable development. And in this particular case, clean energy solutions for mobility, that is a shared dream. That is what we want to do. While at that, also ensuring that we are engaging our people, because it always boils down to people. The kind of people you have define the limit of how far you could go. That is where we and the UN, especially the Environment Program and Climate Action, intersect in pursuing and exploring opportunities for working together to realize technology in mobility that are not only environmentally aware, but create opportunities for sustained environmental stewardship.